All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us, the old friends, new friends. This is our third session in the Mandukya Upanishad, and we'll be starting on the third mantra today, if you've been following. We're blessed to have Bindoji or Abind to lead us through this. It's an extraordinary individual that can lead anyone through this and through the faculties of Clubhouse. We've been doing the Upanishad series for a year now, and different different formats and different texts, and this has been working out really well. So what we'll do is we'll spend about an hour going through the Upanishad, and then open up to questions about this text, and then any other questions unrelated to the Upanishad, we'll open up another room after that. And so, without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Aurobind. Aurobind will lead us through this for the next little bit, and we have Nitya. Nitya Ji will also be available for any questions. And thank you. I'll turn it over to you now. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Patrick. Hari Om all. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vancha Rishibhyo Gurubhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutravashikritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyapta Dehaya Sri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaah Bhadram Pasye Makshabhir Yajatraah Sthirairangai Stuštuvagum Sastanubhih Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vriddhashravaah Swasti nः Pusha Vishwavedaah Swasti nastaksho Arishtanemi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Nityaji, the Mangala Sutra and the first six mantra of the Upanishad also you can chant.
Today I'll just do the Mangala Stotram, Mangalam.
Okay.
Next time. Okay.
Okay.
Om Prajnanam Shukpradanaihi Tirachara Nikara Vyapibhir Lokan Bhuktva Bhogan Stavishtan Punarapi Dishanodbhasitan Kamajanyan Pītvā sarvān visheshan swapati madhurabhung māyaya bhojayanno māyā sankhya turiyam paramam amrutamajam brahmayattan natosmi yo vishvatma vidhija vishayan prashya bhogan तविष्ठान् पश्चाच्चान्यान् स्वमति विभवान् ज्योतिषा स्वेन सूक्ष्मान् सर्वानेतान् पुनरपि शनैः स्वात्मनि स्थापयित्वा हित्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् विगतगुणगणः पात्वसौ नः तुरीयः जागृदादिषु जागृदादित्रयोन्मुक्तम् जागृदादिमयम् तथा ओङ्कारेक सुसंवेद्यम् यत्पदं तन्नमाम्यहम्. Om.
Dhanyawad. Thank you, Nitin. We'll continue our study of Mandukya Upanishad with Karika. First, I'll take the first mantras, the 6 mantras which are part of the first group. I'll chant it once and then we'll continue from what we left in the last class. ओमित्येतदक्षरमिदं सर्वं तस्योपव्याख्यानं भूतं भविष्यति सर्वम् ओङ्कारमेव यच्चान्यत्र कालातीतं तदप्योङ्कार एव सर्वं ह्येतदात्मा सर्वं ह्येतद्ब्रह्म अयमात्मा ब्रह्म स अयं चतुष्पाद जागरितस्थानो बहिः प्रश्नः सप्ताङ्ग एकोनविंशतिमुखः स्थूलभुक् वैश्वानरः प्रथमपादः स्वप्नस्थानो अन्तःप्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्ग एकोनविंशतिमुखः प्रविभुक्तभुक्तैजसो द्वितीयपादः यत्र सुप्नो न कञ्चन कामं कामयते न कञ्चन स्वप्नं पश्यति तत् सुषुप्तं सुषुप्तस्थान एकीभूतः प्रज्ञानघन यदवमानन्दमयो ह्यानन्दभुक् तेजोमुखः प्राज्ञस्तृतीयपादः एष सर्वेश्वर एष सर्वज्ञ एषोऽन्तर्याम्य एष अयोनिः एष सर्वस्य प्रभवोऽप्ययौ हि भूतानां. These are the 6 mantras together in the beginning. Now we saw that Om ityetad aksharam, this one aksharam or one word, one syllable is representing the idam sarvam, what we call it as this. Anything which is called as this other than us is the meaning which may apparently look like, but it is not like that. Idam includes sarvam. The moment the word sarvam comes, it includes the one who is speaking also, or the one who is uttering the word Om. Tasya upakhyanam means the clear exposition of that usage of Om, how it has become sarvam, is what is Mandukya Upanishad is all about, which includes Bhutam Bhavat Bhavishyat, that is the past, present and future. All what you can conceive, Sarvam Omkara Eva, everything is Omkara. Not only that, Yacha Anyatra Kalatitam Tadapya Omkara Eva. So what is beyond the Trikalam, that is past, present and future, even that is Omkara Eva. That means there is nothing which is outside the Omkara. And Omkara is being now explained at Sarvam Hetad Brahma. All this, what is told as Bhutam Bhavishyat and Trikala Sarvam Hi Etad Brahma. All these are Brahma only. And that Brahma is I am Atma. This Atma which is there, which is being identified the individuals, that Atma and Brahma are the same. Saha ayam Atma Chatushpad. This Atma, which is now being referred as Brahma, should be understood with the four quarters. Now this is where we started our analysis of the ayam Atma. Ayam Atma means the individual should know that Atma means self. The self is the individual who is now being told that your Swarupa or your real nature is that of the Brahma, which is Idam Sarvam, what is included in the past, present and future and beyond that. So how will the individual understand that this limited body individual, how can he be the Brahma or the whole, the entirety of things? To analyze that, the Upanishad is breaking up our experiences into Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and Turiya. The Turiya is the fourth one, not the fourth quarter. It is the quarter here. It means it like a for a pound or for a rupee. How each quarter is is, when divided into each quarter, do not represent the full, but when the quarter in itself is not limiting to any particular part. Any quarter, when 4 quarters join together, becomes the totality of the experience. Same way here also. And the definition of the waking has been mentioned as Jagaridasthana. That means Jagarat Abhimani Ya Pratnya Hasti, that knowledge or that awareness which identifies itself with the waking. And what are the qualities of it? Bahipratnya. It is looking outward, or it is cognizing objects which are apparently outside. And how does it do? Ekona Vimshati Mukha. He has got 19 tools with which he understands the world outside, which is in the microcosm or the individual. And the same thing is there in the macrocosm or the whole creation, which is represented by Saptanga. The Saptanga is the cosmic form. Stula book. Stula means gross. Stula book. Stulam bhujate yaha saha stula book. One who is serving, consuming, or using the gross elements, he is called a Jagarita Sthanaha. And his name in the microcosm level is called Vaishwanara. Otherwise, as another name is there, Vishwa. But in the cosmic or the macrocosm level, the same person is known as Virat. And that is the first quarter, Pradama Padaha. Now here, we have to understand that it is not the sum total of microcosm which becomes the macrocosm in the typical sense what we know that, It is not that way we have to understand that. The macrocosm is inclusive of the microcosm. It is not made up of multiple microcosm. So there is a relationship between the microcosm and the macrocosm, in the sense that what is there in a drop of water is the same molecule what is there in the ocean also. That way, it is not the many drops of water put together becomes the ocean. That may appear to be the same, but it can never. That type of a scaling up is not what the Upanishad is maintaining here. Here he is saying that when you know a microcosm or a jiva or a individual, the same is the case with the Virat or the total. Now that has to be understood in a philosophical sense and not a physical sense, because this is not only talking about the experiences of the waker, they are also going to the same call, what is called our dream world. Swapnasthana Antaprajnaha Saptanga Ekona Vimshati Mukha Pravibhukta Bhuk Taijasa Dvitiya Padaha. The second quarter is called the Swapna Abhimani Prajna. The one awareness which identifies itself with the dream world. And therefore, Pravibhukta book means it is consuming or it is enjoying or it is serving not gross material but which are subtle in nature, Pravibhukta book, using the same 19 tools. What is the tools used for the waking is the same tools what is used in the Swapna also. And in the last class, we discussed about the Sushupti or Sushupta. Yatra supto na kanjana kamam kamayade na kanjana swapnam pasyadi tat sushuptam. Sushupta sthana eki bodhaka prajnanagana eva anandamayo hi anandabuk cheto mukha pratnya tridiya padaha. This is the tridiya padaha. This is the third quarter of our experience. One quarter of our experience is waking, second quarter of our experience is dream, the third quarter is called the deep sleep. Now, here we have to understand one thing. Even though when we use the word waking, dream, and deep sleep, technically or in the common parlance, we feel that daytime is called waking. When we go into sleep, or the night when we are going to sleep, we slip into dream or deep sleep. But in the sense of the Upanishad, there is nothing called a day or night. It is only telling you the identifier when he enjoys the gross elements. He is called a waker or Jagarita Prajna. When he is enjoying the subtle or lucid or non-tangible, non-gross objects, he is called as dreamer. And when both are not there and there is nothing to be cognized, or there is absolute what you call non-cognition, still there is a identifier with the awareness, and that identifier is called the supta. And because there is nothing available, na kanchana kamam kamayate, there is nothing which is being desired, because there is no object to be there to be desired. Na kanchana swapnam pashyati, it is not that he is not seeing because the things are gross is not available, nor even subtle is available. Now, these three are conditions of our awareness. It doesn't necessarily mean in waking, dream, and deep sleep are independent. In the waking, when we are using our sensory organs and when we are exchanging or interacting with gross elements in the world outside, that activity is called the waker. But when the waker having interacted with any object, that becomes in the part of his memory. And when he recalls his memory, even in waking, that time when he is using his memory for the recalled memory for his purpose of either daydreaming or thinking about somebody in his life or some object or even thing like that, that is Pravivita book. He is a enjoyer of a subtle world. Doesn't mean he is in waking, but his engagement is not with gross elements. He is engaging with subtle elements which is in his memory. And there may be moments in our waking when we are stunned or by some ecstatic moment or some wonders when we have, the mind becomes still without even identifying the gross object or the subtle memory or anything. For it can be even for a fraction of a second. These three keeps interchanging in our daily experience, whether we are in waking, dream, or deep sleep. Not in deep sleep, wake or dreaming. In the dreaming, where there are experiences which are as good as gross. Now, for example, when we are woken up from a dream by scared by somebody attacking us or a lion attacking us or somebody is beating us up, or we feel that we are falling from a cliff and hurting ourselves. There is a grossness in our experience, even in the dream. That grossness experiencer of the dream is not of the dreamer. That is called the Stula book, or one who feels the grossness of his experience. But most of the 90% or some majority of the experiences of the dream are lucid and subtle. So we don't remember most of the experiences of the dream except for where it had a gross effect and that has gone into our memory. Now what happens how does the sleep come up? As per the Shastra or the various Upanishad is giving that the gross objects which have been pushed into our subconscious mind as vasanas or samskara or impressions in our subconscious mind, they come up for further engagement with the sense organs for meeting certain unfulfilled desires or some sort of a activity within the mind level. Therefore, the part of the gross elements memory which is there in the subconscious mind is being brought into the memory field in the dream, and that mixed up with imagination is what we are enjoying in our dream. So you cannot really put a demarcation between dream and deep sleep because they have commonalities and there are specialities. Therefore, between the two, when the grossness of objects are being enjoyed, he is called a waker. When the subtleness of the objects, either it can be imagination or memories of what we had of the gross elements which we had enjoyed earlier. In those cases, he is called a dreamer. But in the case of a deep sleeper, which we discussed in the last class, needs much more explanation because that's something which technically and practically nobody can analyze it unless Shruti tells it what is that, what is called the Sushruti. All we know in our experience is that I knew nothing. I had a good sleep. Nakanchana veti. And I knew nothing. And I was in a state of happiness. I had a good sleep and I'm feeling fresh. So these experiences is basically called a vritti or a mental pulsation which is remembered in the waking. But while that happening in the deep sleep, we have no knowledge. Now, in the Bhashya, Shankara explains it is that Vishesha Vijnana Agrahana. That is, there is no grasping or knowing of specialities, whether it in the subtle form or a gross form. Because in both subtle and gross form, waker and dreamer, we know that there are objects and they have got specialities. This is called Vishesha Vijnana. It can, the word we can define those experiences or the objects with definitive qualities and measures. But in the case of deep sleep, what happens? There it is agrahanam, means non-consumption or non-understanding or no, what you call knowing of any of the specialities. At the same time, there is a knowing of not knowingness. I knew nothing. When we all wake up, we say that I knew nothing. I had a good sleep. I knew nothing. What happened? What was happening? What is the time? How much I slept? All those things are ignorance type of a thing. I knew nothing. So this ignorance or apparent feeling like ignorance, at the same time it was not ignorance because even that was cognized by the mind in the form of a memory, and that's why when we wake up we call it as I had a good sleep. So manovritti, the mental pulsation was there. That is why even though we have lost our individuality, identification with the body, mind, intellect, and the location, desha, kala, time and space, everything has been set aside, we still do not become one with our nature. It is something similar to our reality, but at the same time, we do not know exactly what it is. Therefore, when we wake up, we become the same old person of the waking. This, in some of the later philosophers after Shankara, called it as a Ajnana Bijam, or the seed of ignorance was there. But Shankara and both Sureshwaracharya flatly refuses that. They say there is nothing called Ajnana in the Sushupti. It is just like that. If you are moving, you entered a room where there was light and you saw everything. Suddenly the power goes off. You know things are there, at the same time you have no consumption or no interaction with your sense organs and the objects. There is a darkness prevailing everywhere. The darkness doesn't mean that you are not there, the objects are not there, but there is no interaction between you and the objects. This sort of a feeling is exactly what we feel in our deep sleep. The waking and the dream world, suddenly the light which was projecting these two shut itself down and we knew nothing. When there is nothing to be known, the tendency of the mind is naturally to get into a state of bliss. This bliss is called Ananda Book in the Supta stage. Supta means one who is in the deep sleep. Ananda Book. That means Anandam ya bhujate. The Ananda Book. He is enjoying the Ananda of not engaging with any objects. At the same time, it is not Ananda Swarupa. It is not his nature or his Swarupa of bliss. Satchit Ananda. That Ananda is not the one which is thing. Here is what is being enjoyed is the Ananda book of the absence of perturbance by special objects which are otherwise taking away the energy and consumption of through our sense organs. That dissipation of energy when doesn't happen, we feel relaxed. Now Shankara gives an example here. If a person, those olden days, the people used to move from one place to another. When they used to go, they used to carry their baggage or their belongings as a head load. Now this head load, when it is there with you, it is a stress on your neck and everything. And there were pillars en route where people could, temporarily unload it, not at the ground floor, at the head level itself, with the support of those granite pillars. Today, nowadays, no, it is not available. So those granite pillars used to take away the stress and the load from the head. That time there was a sense of relaxation and happiness in the person from the absence of engagement with the head load. These type of a relaxation or disengagement with the objects in the waking and the dream is the reason why he remains as a enjoyer of happiness in the Sushupti stage. And there are terms which are used in the Sushupta sthana, mean the identifier with the Sushupti state. Eki Bodha. He became one with. So what Eki Bodha does stand here for? Only when you have multiple things, you can become one. So Eki Bodha, the word shows that it became one. Now, this word is the one which is giving the indication that the Jagrat and Swapna, or the waking and the dream, is coming out of this very one where everything has merged into one, which indicates otherwise that the projection of the waking grossness and the objects of gross entities with the enjoyer who is also gross in the waking, and the subtle enjoyer and the subtle objects of the dream has merged into a unity state in the Sushupti, Ekibhuta. And therefore, he becomes Prajnana Ghana. Prajnana means Prakarshena Jnana, every Prajna. Prakarshena, if it is there is special knowledge, that knowledge is what is called the waking knowledge and the dream knowledge. Now, when it becomes Ekibhuta, that knowledge merges into one, and the knowledge of not many into resolving into one state of mere awareness of that I knew nothing. That's a statement we all make. I knew nothing is that contradicting words itself. You cannot say knew and nothing. Nothing can be never known. So when I say I had a good sleep, and when I woke up, I say I had a good sleep, I knew nothing, I am contradicting myself. When I say I knew and nothing, the nothing is an object which can never be known. So why do I use the word knew nothing? That indication comes from the word prajnanagana. That knowledge, not knowing anything at the same time being the knowledge is the prajnanagana. You are the knowledge. You are the knowledge where you know that there is nothing other than that, therefore eki bodha. Therefore what happens is that there is nothing which is going to intervene or diminish your happiness or the completeness of the prajnanagana. Therefore he is called Anandamaya, and he is in a state of total happiness. That is which I explained about the head load part of it. So what happens is that in these conditions, there is a level of what you call potency from where that ekibhuta prajnana, when it projects into the grossness, it is called the waking or the Jagrat Sthana. Swapna Sthana, when he identifies himself with the Jagrat Sthana, he is called the waker. The Sushupta Sthana identifying grosser is the Jagrat Sthana. Sushupta Sthana, when identified with the Swapna Sthana, he becomes a Swapna Sthana. So it is the one and the only one which is when identifying with the different experiences, he is called the waker, he is called the dreamer. And that entity in the deep sleep is called Prajna. Prajna Tridiya Pada is the third quarter. Now when it comes to Tridiya Pada, we have to make it understand that this term called Agrahanam, which is there in the third quarter, continues when it comes to waking and dream also. Because Cheto Mukha is the word which is used by the Upanishad. Cheto Mukha means Chaitanyam, through which Mukha means through the face or through the apparatus of Mukha, it projects the waking. The Chaitanya projection as gross objects, including the subject, object and the knowing, becoming the grossness is called the Jagrat Sthana. For that, the Cheto Mukha is the condition in the Agrahana stage or the non-understanding or the when I knew nothing, that state, the Eki Buddha state becomes the cause or the from where that wake up comes. So it's all our experience. When we wake up from our deep sleep, suddenly the whole world comes up, including the I, association with the body, the mind, intellect. If there is a sickness with the body, we'll start remembering the body sickness. If there is if we are in hospital, we'll remember we are in hospital. If we are remember at house, we remember. If we are in a hotel or traveling, we remember that. All those things springs back from the Cheto Mukha because of that condition of the deep sleep. And it is the same one which is operating even when we are waking, when we call upon our memory. Suppose if we are on a travel outside and we remember something that we have not done back in our home or in the office, that memory when it comes in the waking is subtle in nature. Pravivikta book, that is the second one which is saying that. That also is coming because of the Cheto Mukha. So we are now definitely not able to crystal clear, bifurcate them into three parts: Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Even though majority of the experience during these three times can be called as Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, or wake and dream and deep sleep, when it is we are in waking, when we are in dream, when we are in our deep sleep, is not conditioned by the day or night of the world outside. It is our experience which is deciding whether we are in the gross state, or we are in the subtle state, or we are in a state of not knowing anything. So you have to keep these things in the mind, because when we go to the Chaturtha Padaha, Turiya, we will know it much better only if we know these aspects of the three states, because Turiya is not separate from the three. So to come to that, we have to know what are the three and its own relationship. At this stage, having discussed about what is waking, what is dream, and what is deep sleep, as we have completed in the last class, today we will take up the fourth pada, or no, indicative to fourth pada. It's not actually the fourth pada. It is the indicative to the fourth pada. The mantra goes like this: Yesha Sarveshwaraha, Yesha Sarvajnaha, Yesha Andaryami, Yesha Yonihi, Sarvasya Prabhava Api Ayau Hi Bhutanam. Bhutanam means all the creations. Bahuvachanam. Ayau Hi Bhutanam. This alone is the Bhutanam. What? Prabhava. Prakarshena Bhavati. Iti Prabhava. Is creating from, the creation takes place from this. From what? That adjectives are called Yesha Sarveshwara, Yesha Sarvajna, Yesha Andaryami, Yesha Yoni. These are the four terminologies the Upanishad uses to define that one which is the cause for Sarvasya Prabhava, for Bhutanam. All the creations has the origin from here, therefore it is called Yoni. Yoni means is the place from where birth takes place. So all the creation takes place. For everything there is one place from where the creation of the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti takes place. Now how does that Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti takes place? Because he is Sarveshwara. Sarveshwara means Sarvanam Ishvara is Sarveshwara. He is the controller. Ishvara means he is the one controller. Here the word Ishvara is not the word God which is there in the theological meaning. No. Sanskrit has got different meanings at different conditions, so we should take it as per the context. Sarva Ishvaraha means he is the controller of every atom of creation. And how does he become controller of every creation? Because Saha Eva Yoni. It is from him or from that every creation is coming up. How does it act? The support is that there are other Upanishadic words which are saying that Tasmat Akasha Sambhutaha, Akashad Vayu, Vayor Agni, Agnerapah, Abba Prativi, Prativi or Aushadaya, Aushadayobhi Annam, Annat Purushaha. So like that there is a Taittiriya word where says that from that became the space. From the space came the rest of the things up to every living being or everything in the creation. Or there are other Upanishads also which are talking about the creation part. Ajayamano Bahuda Vijayate. Even though he did not take birth, he became everything. Is another mantra of the same Upanishad. So we can see that another Upanishad says, So akamayata bahusyam prajayeti. He willed, let me become many. So there are innumerable quotations which I can give you where the other Upanishads are also referring to that this Ishvara is the yoni for Sarva Bhutanam, is from where everything comes up. Now when it comes to this stage, normally we know the creation with two things. One is that we need a material with which we can make things, and there should be a creator who makes with the material products. But we were told that Eki Buddha Prajnana Ghana. It became one. There is only one. And how can it become the many? So the question will naturally come, from the one, how did it become many? So did it really become many, or is it appearing as many? Like the water, the ocean itself, did it become many waves, or the many waves are appearances of the same ocean? Same way, Bahuda Vijayate became many, Ajayamano, without becoming birth. Jaya means to give birth or to take birth. Ajayamano means not taking birth. Bahuda Vijayate, he becomes many, is what the Upanishad says. So, Sa Sarveshwara, he has the control to become many. He is the ultimate controller, or he is the Ishvara, who has control on not only creation but on himself also. He has control, self-control, whether when he wants to become many, he can become many. When he decides not to become many, he doesn't become many. So in both ways, he is a Sarveshwara. There is nothing outside that Ishvara's control. Therefore, he is a Sarveshwara. Now, how does the word Yesha Sarvajnaha? Sarvajnaha, Sarvam Janatiha, Sarvajnaha. One who knows everything is a Sarvajna. Now, in our case, what happens is that if we know a pot, we know the pot, but we do not know the thing which is on the side or by the side or other places. So our knowledge is always limited through the limitation of the indriyas or the sense organs. But how did Ishvara, who is the yoni for Sarva Bhutanam, become the Sarvajna? Sarvam Bhutva Sarvajna. He is the one everything. See, I may know physically the quality, taste, etc. of a mango. But what is to be a mango, I will never know, because unless I become the mango, I will not know how to be a mango or another person. See, suppose if I want to say that I know my close thing, like I know my son, if I say, or I know my daughter, I really do not know, because I know only from the superficial knowledge what that person is, how is he, what is normal mental thinking process, how thing. But being him or her is never within my knowledge. So this limitation is what every created material has a limitation, because they cannot further become something else, because he has already become something. So every object which is have been created is an object, but Ishvara has, having taken the form of that or that become that object, he knows how to be that object, or what is it to be like an object. Therefore, he is called as Sarvajna. And when Sarva Bhutanam, he is the one from where every Buddha comes, or every creation, every atom of the creation comes. He is indeed in everything. And he is the one, you, me, the world, the atoms, the stars, the sun, the moon, the water, everything, the space, the fire, you name it, anything you want you to name. Bhutam bhavat bhavishyati sarvam omkara eva. This is where it is going to ultimately we are going to be taken that side. Even before beyond the three kalas. Because if you want to say Sarva Bhutanam, we should know that what was there in the past, what is there in the present, what is going to be there in the future, and what is beyond that, which is not humanly possible, but Ishvara he is possible to know, or that entity which we call it as Ishvara has the potency to know what is beyond, because even the time comes from him. He is the creator of time. He is the creator of space. So beyond the time and space, only he can know. Trikalatītam. So that is why he becomes a Sarvajna, which cannot be normally understood by our limited intellect and mind. Only Upanishad, only the instrument through which we can understand that insight into what is like a Sarvajna. Then the third word, the fourth one, Yoni is over, Ishvara is over, Sarvajna is over. The last one is Antaryami. Now this Antaryami is a very special word which is only used in the Upanishads. In the Brihadaranya Upanishad, the third chapter, 7th Adhyaya, is a dialogue between Yajnavalkya and one of the Brahmanas in the Janaka's court, Aruni, I think. The entire question was asking, what is this Antaryami? There are plenty of statements, but I take only one of that which Yajnavalkya answers to him, saying that Yaha sarveshu bhuteshu tishtan, that means he, Yaha means he who, sarveshu bhuteshu tishtan, in residing in all the creations, sarvebhyaha bhutebhyaha andara, he is not only in residing in them, but he is also being them. Sarvani bhutani na viduhu. The objects do not know who is that inside that. Like we do not know our reality. We think our identity is name and form and association with our memories, what we are. We do not know. Same way, yam sarvani bhutani na viduhu. They do not know what is the thing by which they have become that, our own. I cannot say what is that entity which I am today, which I call myself with associated with the body. So Sarvani, Bhudevi Andaraha Asti, this Antaryami having become everything, residing in everything, yet not known to those objects. Yasya Sarvani Bhutani Shariram. He is the one who is the body also of the objects. The body of every atom is also that only. There is nothing other than that. Yaha Sarvani Bhutani Andoro Yamayati. He is the one which is pervading the entire object, each of the atoms of the object, of the entire creation. Yeshata Atma. That is the Atma. And he is known as Antaryami. That entity is called Antaryami. Amritaha iti is also known as Amritaha, means immortal. Because what is changing is only the name and form. The entity with which took the name and form never dies or never decays or never goes through any diminishing in its entirety. The name and the form of a pot can change and the mud will become back to mud. The mud has never become Amrita. The pot has become Amrita or Amrita. Pot has destroyed, but the mud doesn't get destroyed. The gold doesn't get destroyed. The ornaments can be destroyed. The waves can be destroyed, but the ocean cannot be destroyed. Same way, even though the entire objects they do not know what they are really made of. Then who is the one who is Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yandrarudani Maya is the statement in the Gita, 18th chapter. He is the one like a machine in every atom, the electron, proton, neutron, or the human beings, or the animals, or the trees, or the stars and moons and the cosmos and the galaxies. He is the one who is Yandrarudani, like a mechanical thing. He is the one which is operating all that. And Kshetrajnam Chabimam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Vijna. This statement of to Krishna is that I am the one Andaryami, which is Sarva Kshetreshu, in every place of dwelling. Kshetra means place of dwelling. For an atom, the atom is a place of dwelling. For a human being, the human body is a place of dwelling. For a star, it is a star. Like that, Kshetrajnam Chabimam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu. In all the Kshetra, same way something is being told here. And iti adibhudam athadhyatma. It is both the adibhudam and adhyatma. The one who makes the difference between adibhudam and adhyatma is doing it because of the limitation of his knowledge. It is the creation and the creator and the one who is dwelling inside the creation. This is the definition given by Yajnavalkya to Aruni in the Yajnavalkya Samvada of Brihadaranya in the third chapter, 7th Adhyaya. There is a lot of time. Prithivim Mantaro Tishta, Prithivim na janati. He is the inside the earth, and the earth doesn't know that he is the one who has become the earth. Earth thinks itself. Like that, there is a set of about 37, 38 statements by Yajnavalkya on that. That itself is a text called Andaryami Brahmana in the Brihadaranya Upanishad. So this Andaryami is that Andaryami who is the yoni for Sarvasya Prabhavati Sarvabhutanam, for all the creation and all this. Now, how is this Ishvara and the three experiences which I have been mentioning above to be related will come in the 7th mantra, which is the ultimate instruction which anybody can get to know the truth. But what Gaudapada has done is that he has written 8 or 9 Karikas explaining these 6 mantras so that those who have not understood the Upanishadic terms as per what it is been written in that, for the Sukhabodaya, for their easy understanding, he has written the 8 Karikas. Now, these Karikas I will be taking before we go to the 7th mantra, where the link between these 4 Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and Turiya will be much clearer when we discuss the 7th mantra and the subsequent Karikas for that. Here is the sum total of what you have to understand, that even though we have the experience of the grossness, subtleness and the absence of both gross and subtleness, all these experiences are nothing but Sarveshwara. He is the one who is the one who knows everything. Sarvajna. That Sarvajna is the one. We also have the knowledge that we are the one who is waking, we are the one who is dreaming, we are the one who had a deep sleep. When we were dreaming, we were not knowing what was waking. When we were waking, we were not knowing what was the details of the dream. And when we are in the deep sleep, both waking and dream, we did not know where it has vanished and this thing. But when we project ourselves and into waker, everything is put back. Dada yada purvam akalpayan. That Ishvara, just as how it was purvam, before we went to sleep, how it was there, akalpayan, he kalpayate, he is the one who, he desires that the whole thing let it come back to experience. So that Sarveshwara is the one which is creating the waking back to its original state which we left when we went to the deep sleep. Therefore, the one who is going, knowing the changes, he is the one who is beyond all the three. Ebhyo Vilakshana Sati. We will get into the Karikas from the next week. Next Wednesday and Thursday, the next Wednesday and Friday, I should be able to complete both the Karikas, so that the following week we will be able to take up the seventh mantra, which is the most important one. That I may need 2 or 3 sessions to complete that one mantra. So we'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. Dhanyavada. Thank you all.